There are two kinds of people on the planet. There are trolls and then everyone else. Trolls are known to be the scums of the internet, pestering us in our comments, in our DMs, and while we're trying to play video games in peace. What makes someone a troll? And why do internet trolls love to troll others but can't handle being trolled back? I'm Harris, and I break down the interesting research in psychology, and this is the psychology of internet trolls. Alright, so this research is looking to understand what makes an internet troll. Basically, what kind of behaviors do they exhibit and what kind of traits would they have? And more specifically, these researchers are looking for the relationship between dark humor, the dark tetrad, which I'll get to soon, and internet trolling. So the dark tetrad is the opposite to the light triad, which looks at positive behaviors like helping others, being selfless, all that kind of good stuff. But the dark tetrad is the combination of four key components. First, you've got narcissism, you got psychopathy, you got Machiavellianism, and sadism. All right, let's define these things real quick before we move on. Now, narcissism is basically about being self-absorbed, feeling superior to everyone else, and not really caring about other people in any way. Psychopathy is basically a combination of being really high thrill-seeking and low in empathy, which means doing dangerous behavior and not really caring about other people. Machiavellianism is basically doing what's best for yourself in the most deceptive and manipulative way. And finally, sadism is basically the idea of getting enjoyment from the suffering of others. So the researchers essentially want to know if any of these traits have any connection to people who are internet trolls. How did the researchers conduct the study? First, they got 160 participants and gave them all a survey to fill out. The first component was determining where they sit on the dark tetrad. The second and third component asked about their online trolling and dark humor, more specifically the behaviors and whether they enjoyed it and how good they were at it. And finally, they looked at their humorous tendencies. So on the scale of thinking you're a really funny person who doesn't take things seriously to you're a very serious person who doesn't take anything in a humorous way, where did they sit? Okay, so the results are really interesting. First, the results showed that people high in sadism and Machiavellianism are likely to enjoy dark humor way more. And then people who are high in sadism, Machiavellianism, and narcissism are really good at creating dark humor. Specifically, they're really good at creating good quality dark humor, whatever quality means, i.e. must be really dark, but not the quantity. And then also the people who showed high levels of dark humor, enjoyment, and quality production were also high in internet trolling behavior, which basically means they were really good at being internet trolls. And interestingly, people who were high in dark humor and enjoyment showed no relationship with being perceived as receiving dark humor positively. In other words, people who received dark humor, despite enjoying giving it out, did not enjoy taking it in. The author said that, quote, "This illustrates that online trolls can give but not take, and furthermore demonstrate that there is a disconnect between the two trolling experiences." Essentially, trolls like to dish it out because they are higher in certain traits, specifically the enjoyment of dishing out dark humor to other people, but when it comes to receiving that themselves, they don't like it very much. In fact, they don't like it so much that they'll rattle dark humor right back at someone as a way to deflect and defend themselves. If you look back at the dark tetrad more carefully, this research makes a whole lot of sense. First, people who are high in narcissism, they are self-absorbed and don't like to be criticized. Therefore, when people receive that dark humor, even though they're like dishing it out, don't like it very much. That makes complete sense. And people high in Machiavellianism, which means being manipulative and doing things kind of shady, this also makes sense because trolling behavior is a bit like manipulation. You do things in a deceptive way to annoy someone, and that can be really fun. And of course, finally, sadism, that just means finding enjoyment in the suffering of others. And when someone trolls someone else, it usually hurts that person, and they do find enjoyment in that. And so what can we learn about internet trolling from this? Essentially, if you're on the receiving end of being trolled, the best thing you can do is not react to it in a negative way, because that's what they're looking for. Internet trolls don't do it for any particular reason except to get a reaction. So if you don't give them a reaction, it's less likely you're going to keep getting trolled. Second, the more time you spend on the internet and actively engaging on there, it's just inevitable that you're going to be trolled. So if you want to avoid it completely and you want to stay on the internet, you can't really do that. And if you're thinking about engaging with an internet troll, remember, they want to have the last laugh. When they receive the trolling, they don't like it, so they want to hit right back, and they are fueled and motivated to keep hitting back until they get the last word. So don't engage, because it's just going to continue. And finally, a few notes about this study specifically. They conducted this on university students so basically the participants skewed younger, and they were majority female. If the participants were slightly older, if their average age was in their mid to late 20s or early 30s, even mid 30s, and if there were more males, maybe the results would look a little bit different. But younger people do spend a lot more time on the internet than older people, so this can be somewhat representative of online trolling, but obviously not completely. Alright, so I want to hear from you. Where do you sit on all this? Are you an internet troll? Have you been trolled on the internet? How was that experience? And what are you going to do now that you know this information? Where do you think you sit on the dark tetrad of psychopathy, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and sadism? If you made it this far, thank you for watching. And if you liked this video, click on one of these, because I know you'll like the other ones that I've made as well. Until next time, peace.